Hey, PM Lotto.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Do you want to come in?
Let's do it.
Come on in.
What is your favorite room in the Showhome?
I don't have a favorite, but if I'm going to choose one, I'm going to say the kitchen.
What is your go-to coffee order?
Okay, so in the summer, it's a cold green tea iced matcha latte. I know it's a mouthful. And in the winter, it is a hot latte with almond milk.
How would you describe the Showhome's design style in 3 words?
Timeless, classic, and so cool. Okay, that was 4, but still.
What is the last book you read?
The PM Lotto source guide.
Where do you find inspiration for your interiors?
Oh my gosh, I'm inspired by everything. More so with this house, I think it was in a design sense. I think it was more of a feeling.
Are you a night owl or an early bird?
Oh, early bird. I'm sleeping by 9 p.m.
Do you prefer statement lighting or subtle fixtures?
Statement.
What is your morning routine like?
Well, I have 3 kids, so chaotic.
What's one design rule you love to break?
There is no design rules.
What's one thing you can't live without?
There's 3 things I can't live without. Sasha, Fallon, and Jace.
How do you get the idea for the loggia?
Oh, in and outdoor entertaining, of course.
What's your guilty pleasure TV show?
Kardashians.
How do you go about picking the rugs for each room?
I custom design them. They're all part of my collection.
How do you make a small space feel bigger?
Keep the color palette consistent. Don't overdo it with your details and just create really cool functioning focal features.
What's your favorite weekend activity?
I'd be lying if I would say sleeping in because that never happens, but that would be my favorite weekend activity.
Is there a design trend you're completely obsessed with?
I hate the word trends, but if I'm gonna go with something that is so current, I would say, no, I'm not gonna say anything. I don't believe in trends.
Do you prefer minimalism or maximalism?
Definitely maximal.
How do you unwind after a long day?
I scrub off all my makeup, I put on pajamas, throw my hair up in a bun, and you'll find me with my feet up.
How do you mix patterns without clashing?
Scale. So if you have a really big pattern, you have to mix it in with something that's a little bit more on a smaller scale, so you can let each one of those pieces stand out on their own.
What's your favorite paint color right now?
Wallpaper.
What's one thing people would be surprised to learn about you?
People will be surprised to know that I'm 5'2" on a good day.
What's the most unconventional item you've used in a design project?
Well, our powder room mirror is made with horsehair, so I think that's a click.
What's the best design advice you've ever received?
Design is always up to the interpretation, so just make it your own.
What's your favorite travel destination for inspiration?
Anywhere in Europe, but if I'm going to pick, I'm gonna say Italy.
How do you make a room feel cozy?
Velvet.
How do you select your furniture pieces?
I love custom designing our furniture pieces. For me, it's all about the scale and how it fits into the room and not making a piece fit for you.
How do you stay creative?
I don't know, I was just born like this.
What's the first thing you notice when you walk into a room?
The symmetry.
Who's your biggest design inspiration?
I am inspired by anyone who goes for it. I think that's my inspo.
What's your favorite season and why?
The summer. A, I'm always cold, and B, have you seen that pool outside? Summer.
How do you bring personality into a space?
Things have to feel fun. They can't feel stuffy. Don't be afraid to add in a leather chandelier into your space.
How do you stay organized in your personal life?
Who told you I was organized?
How did you choose the light fixtures?
Oh, I am huge on light fixtures. They have to feel special and they can't be ordinary. And these guys were professionally sprayed.
How do you make an outdoor space feel like an extension of the show home?
We used pieces that I would use inside the home, especially those black and white pillows. I could see those on a family room or a living room sofa.
What's your go-to advice for someone decorating their home?
Start with a palette. Start with something that you love and develop on that. There's always our first point, which is kind of our ground zero, and then we start layering on top.
How did you decide on 2 islands in the kitchen?
You need 2 islands. I mean, the bigger the better, but one is for usage and one is for fun.
How do you approach designing for function versus aesthetics?
You can't do one without the other. You can't have a pretty space that isn't functional, and you can't have an overly functional space that isn't pretty. So the 2 always have to marry.
What's one hobby you have outside of design?
I used to love hot yoga, but I haven't had an opportunity to do that in a while. Pilates would also be on that list, but I've been a little bit busy.
How do you make a bedroom feel like a retreat?
It has to be warm. It has to be a place that you want to walk into. It has to feel cocooned.
What's the most important element in designing a home office?
Function. You have to want to work there. It has to have everything for you, and I would say storage is number 1.
How do you amplify open floor plans?
Visually, you need to be able to separate the eye. So in our main kitchen area, we have a sofa that acts as a visual divider, but then also is another piece of furniture.
How do you handle color in a kitchen design?
Color goes everywhere. It doesn't have to stay in only kids' bedrooms. We have amazing color within our kitchen pantry.
What's the first thing you do when you wake up?
Check my Instagram.
What's your favorite wallpaper design in the show home?
That colorful pantry.
How do you make a home feel personal?
It has to feel different. It has to speak to whoever is going to be living in the home, and that comes with feeling different from one space to the other.
What's your favorite type of flooring?
I would say anything that could be covered with a custom designed rug.
If you weren't a designer, what would you be doing?
I don't know. I think I only have one skill, is being a designer.
How do you create a luxurious feel on a budget?
There's gotta be one thing that is a little bit more expensive. You can save on everything else, but inject the space with that one really special moment.
What's your favorite holiday to decorate for?
Birthdays.
What was your inspiration for the kids' room with the slide?
I didn't design it, my kid's imagination designed it.
What's your favorite kind of music to listen to while working?
Oh, anything. I actually can't work in a quiet environment. I need to have music blasting.
What's the one design element every home should have?
Soul. But if I'm gonna say one specific element, I'm gonna say a cozy couch for everyone to lie on.
How do you decide on the right furniture layout for a room?
It has to make sense. So there has to be form and function. There has to be a focal point, and then usually we kind of build around that.
How do you keep a space looking timeless?
You have to incorporate pieces that have been there forever. The usage of marble, people think that it's modern, but it's actually stood the test of time.
What's your favorite time of day at home?
When the kids go to bed.
How did you incorporate art into the show home?
I wanted to make sure that I was working with our local artist community, and we have all of their original pieces in the home, and that's another element that creates that soul in the space.
What's one piece of advice you'd give to your younger self?
Know your worth.
Do you prefer open shelving or closed cabinets?
I actually hate open shelving because you see all the mess.
What's your favorite design challenge to tackle?
I love a good design challenge. I actually love small spaces.
What's your go-to for home accessories?
Marble accessories. They are going to elevate any space and they're gonna make it feel so luxurious.
How do you mix modern and traditional design elements?
It's actually a lot easier than people think. You have to have a common thread between the old and the new, and it's actually a lot easier than people think it is.
What do you want people to notice first when they enter the show home?
The color, the pops.
How do you create a perfect gallery wall?
Spacing. You need to make sure that your spacing is all consistent all the way around.
What's your favorite way to add texture to a room?
Different textures. So there's got to be something that feels a little bit heavier, a little bit thinner, those layers, something that is going to give you a textural experience.
What does being a part of the Princess Margaret Home Lottery mean to you?
It's so special and it's so touching, and I'm so honored to be here.
How do you make a statement with design without overwhelming a space?
You gotta use the right amount of pop.
What do you do on your day off?
I don't have any days off, I'm a mom.
How do you keep a room feeling fresh year-round?
Changing the sheets. There is nothing better than a crisp white linen.
Plush couch or comfy couch?
Ooh, comfy couch.
How do you approach designing for small spaces?
The same way I would with big spaces, except I think about proportion. I use less pieces and bigger patterns.
What's your favorite room to design in the show home?
The kids' bedrooms.
How do you incorporate your personality into your designs?
There's a little bit of Erica in every thread of this home.
What do you have to say to the Home Lottery supporters?
Thank you. Thank you for your generous contributions. Thank you for being a part of this. Good luck.